On this week's episode, we are sharing our stories from grocery delivery.
Yes, we've mentioned it in the past, but we have never done a full episode about how we get our groceries delivered and all the crazy stories that come with it.
So stick around.
Hello, and welcome to Rare with Flair.
The podcast where two best friends with the same rare disease are living our best lives. I'm your host, Cassandra.
And I'm your host, Casey.
We're back. We're back.
We're back.
It's not like we
good.
actually took a break for you guys, but
No,
we
took a little break
haven't
for
recorded.
us, though.
Yeah.
And we feel that. Like, we feel that when we don't record on our normal or typical schedule. We feel it. I miss it.
Yeah, I know. There was just so many empty weeks, and that's not to say that we didn't talk, because we did. But we haven't recorded, and that feels different.
It feels strange, but now that we're back doing it, it feels just like we're at home again, you know? It just feels like a regular part of our lives.
So glad to be back. How have you been, Case?
I have been good. I'm trying to think. I had a friend come in town and visit, and my friend Allie. It was fun to see her, and just been getting into 2025. It's been a little cray, but a lot of it in a good way. So what about you?
Same. It's been a little cray, but kind of in a good way. Yeah, I feel like I've been really working toward my vision board goals, especially establishing my routines, which has been really good and nice for me. So I have been really enjoying that.
Well, I don't want to, I can edit this out if you don't want to share, but do you want to share one of your vision board goals that you accomplished already? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm like, some of them are continuous, which is why I am.
You did it yesterday. You went to this thing.
Yes! Night. Oh my gosh, you guys! I joined a choir.
Yeah, she auditioned and she got into the choir.
That's so true. You're so right. Thank you for remembering.
You're already killing those vision board goals, girly.
We are, and it's so fun. So yesterday was our second rehearsal. Our first rehearsal was a week prior, and you guys, I felt like a deer in headlights. It had been many years since I was in choir, and kind of just getting back into the groove of it. It does come back to you, but boy, yes. I was unprepared. Also, sight reading is so hard when you're visually impaired.
Hard. If you have any tips or tricks out there for sight reading, definitely message us, because it's not easy.
It is tough. By the time my eyes have registered the note that I'm looking at and the word to sing at the time, we've already moved on to the next line. And I'm like,
exactly. No, that is the most relatable thing ever, though, because you're looking at the words, you're looking at the notes, you're trying to it's moving as it goes.
Yeah,
quickly,
you're trying to look up at the director for cutoffs. It's
looking up at the director. I don't know how anybody does it, blind or sight. I don't know how anybody does it.
It's so much to think about.
So much to look at. I'm like, how does one's eyes even see this many things at once? It can't compute. But I'm so proud of you that you're already killing your vision board goals, and that's an exciting goal.
So
I'm excited for you to have your first concert in the spring. And
yes, and awesome. We have two concerts in the spring, actually. There's one in March and one in April. So it'll be a fun time.
Yeah, that's so exciting.
What about you? Have you gotten a jump on any of your vision board goals?
Let's see. I've been really good about not. One of my goals was to just thrift and not buy any clothes. I know it's only been a month, but I haven't done that, so that's good.
Yeah.
Haven't bought anything new. And so I'm doing really well with that, and I don't really have the desire. I really like my closet, and I don't really have the desire to add anything. So that's been good, and just, some of the other goals I've kind of fallen off a little bit on, but I've been reading and trying to read what I have and, trying to do all those things.
Well, the year is long and it's far from over, even though January always feels a little bit eternal.
I will say my word was vulnerable, though, and I feel like I've already done that. So,
yeah,
I'm trying. So,
I know.
Yeah, January does feel eternal. Oh my gosh.
It's so long. And this January has been especially cold and snowy.
Yeah, and especially eternal. I thought you were going to say it's been especially eternal.
This January has been a little especially eternal. It has been.
I feel like I'm in like a labyrinth or something.
Yeah. Are we ever going to find the end?
But, like 2 weeks ago feels like 3 months ago in my head.
Truly. But at the same time, I feel like it was just MLK, and that was like a week and a half ago.
That's true, but I feel like Christmas was 3 years ago.
Wow, yes.
Yeah, wow. Like Christmas Who? Like, not to quote a SpongeBob episode title, but
Christmas Who. And by the time this episode comes out, it will be February. Happy February, month of amour.
Month of amour.
If you do not have a significant amour in your life, hopefully you can enjoy some self-amour, and that is lovely.
And more importantly, we hope you can go check out our Valentine's Day episode we did 4 years ago
5,000 centuries ago, and I feel like so much has changed, because at that point I wasn't even dating online. Oh man.
Oh my gosh, you're right. We've got to revisit that maybe. But I liked that episode. I was proud of that episode. I was even more proud of our cover art. It was adorable. We had it's
one of my favorite cover arts we had done.
One of my favorites. We put a lot of effort into
it. We really worked for it.
We really did. So go check that out. It's from 4 years ago. Maybe it doesn't hold up, but I think we said some good things in there. I'm going to give us a pat on the back and say we said some eloquent things.
I think so too. I know, right? I'm like already thinking, man, my philosophy has changed a bit.
But not
I think fundamentally. Yeah.
Right. I think we would still agree with a lot of what we said.
I think so.
I think so.
I think so.
I mean, we haven't heard it in 4 years, but
well,
maybe. Who knows?
Wow, 4 years. Yeah, 4 years. That's nuts, February girl.
21. Yeah, it is nuts. We've been doing this pod for quite a minute. We are different people, but also the same. So,
yet we still come up with content to talk about, like today's, which we have not really talked that much about.
No. So Cassandra was the one who brought this up. I feel like we always mention the fact that oftentimes when we pick an episode topic, it is because something has happened in our lives that week or that month or recently. And Cassandra came to me with this crazy story.
Bonkers story.
It was bonkers, truly. My mouth was agape, so I was like, one of us was like, we have to do an episode all about this because there's so much to say.
And it reminded we did our Uber stories from a couple of a year or two ago. I don't even remember when we did that. But it's so interesting getting grocery delivery. We've been doing it for many years, and we've mentioned the fact that we do grocery delivery, but not necessarily gone into a whole lot of detail about what we use, why, and some of the associated interesting moments that arise.
Right. And living in the year 2025, these things exist now. I mean, grocery delivery was not even a thing. And now not only are disabled people using it, but, able-bodied people are using it too. It's a service for everyone. And a lot of people might hate on it, oh, you're so lazy to not go to the store, but you don't realize how much it could be helping people with disabilities or elderly people or just people who can't get to the store. So
I've sat in on research sessions with people with disabilities, and a lot of them will even mention just unprompted how they get groceries delivered, because so many people can't drive. This is huge. I mean, even if I think so many of the commercials kind of try to hit it on the head, you're a busy mom and there's just a lot happening in your life. You're trying to take care of everything at once. To actually go to the store is a huge chunk of your day. So it's amazing. Right. And it employs a lot of people, right? Kind of like delivery drivers.
It does. And another thing that you could see as a positive about it is if you have a specific grocery list you need and you don't want to go in there and spend over your browse and spend over your budget, because we all know that happens. It's a nice way to be okay, I need milk, eggs, bread, whatever, and I'm not going to be just spending money on random things that I don't really actually need this week.
Because I'm hungry and I went to the store.
Right. And sometimes, to be fair, sometimes that's the way you find fun new things. So that true. Is fun sometimes.
I do miss browsing, but I will still...
and we still will do that.
We'll still go to the store with family or friends and walk around.
Definitely. Yeah, I still go. It's just hard because we could easily Uber to the store, but if you are picking up a lot of groceries, it's harder to put them back in the car. You don't have your own
It's hard to put them in the car. It's an additional expense. Sometimes
right. So
it's really hard to, plan if you're getting pre-planned rides, like using something like paratransit. It's hard to plan when you'll be done with your groceries.
Correct.
So there are a lot of factors that make grocery delivery really, really challenging. Even if you walk to the store, it's really hard to get something, like if you live somewhere like New York, or when I lived in Seattle when I was in college, to get like bulkier items, it's really challenging. Like you need a pack of paper towels or something.
Right, and a lot of people, I lived in a 5-floor walk-up in New York, so, that was really difficult to carry all of that up the stairs, so I often did use grocery delivery in New York, and so did others that weren't disabled, so, yeah. When did you start, what year did you start using, I know you use, we can kind of go over what we use, too, if you want to do that right now.
Yeah.
I use Shipt.
So I use Instacart.
Yes. So
I've used Instacart for, oh my gosh. I think I started in, I could look it up on the app, but I think I really actually started using it more sporadically when I was in college, but in 2017, actually.
That's exactly the year that I started.
Nuh-uh.
I kid you not. That's kind of when it became more of a thing, I want to say.
Yeah, I remember it was still pretty in its infancy when I started using it.
Me too. I was going to say 2017.
It's exploded so much.
Well, and especially with COVID, that helped.
Oh my gosh. I felt like almost a gatekeeper during COVID.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I've been using grocery delivery for years, and now everyone's jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah, 100%. I felt the same way, but I'm also glad for it. Not glad for COVID specifically, but COVID did open the door for a lot of delivery stuff to become more popular, so that's great.
Yes.
And a lot of people who started using it during COVID are still using it to this day. And so that helps us. If the need is there, then it's going to be more widely available. So
and I've found that it's expanded a lot in availability, in price, in speed in which you get your groceries. Have you also used Amazon Fresh?
No, but I have ordered from Whole Foods on Amazon before.
Whole Foods. I remember you were placing an order online once we were talking while this was going on. But, okay, so what do you really love about Shipt?
So Shipt was kind of just the one I originally started using. My sister and brother-in-law gifted it to me for my birthday one year, and they gave me a year subscription. And so once I was kind of with Shipt, I just stuck with it. But I do like it. They have Kroger and Target and any other random store that I could need. I pay a yearly subscription, but there is a $35 fee you have to spend $35 to get free delivery, and then they will deliver it within like the hour or two, but you can also schedule it later if you're not home and whatnot. But so far I've had really good experiences with it. We are going to touch on some not so good experiences, but overall I usually have the same shoppers. You can save your shoppers on there if you like them.
Oh, that's
and
nice.
A lot of times I'll have like the same ones, so I know them now, and they know me.
That's pretty cool. So, I kind of get whoever is around.
Yeah, well, what do you like about, I was about to say DoorDash, that is not it, about Instacart? What do you like?
So it operates pretty similarly, it sounds like. You can pay a monthly or an annual subscription for Instacart, and the annual subscription, actually, I think I just switched over recently because I didn't realize it was an option, and it is cheaper usually to do it annually if you know you're going to use it all year, which I definitely do. It does come with some little added perks, like you get Peacock for free, which is nice because I was kind of already paying for it, and you can get a free year of New York Times Cooking, which your girl loves New York Times Cooking.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, Instacart is... There is like $35 for a lot of stores, but there are some both bigger stores and even some kind of like more local franchises that have options that for $10 or more, they will deliver your items with no delivery fee. So the nice thing about it is sometimes it is like, a few cents more per item than the regular version, but I have versions of that for most large stores. So like I can get stuff from CVS and Walgreens for $10. I can do Kroger, Target, I think, Meijer, which is a chain out here in Ohio, and Fresh Time, which is our kind of more local version of, like, you have Sprouts, like more organic store. Yeah,
like a farmer's market type.
Kind of a farmer's market type store. So they have versions of both like $35 free delivery and $10 free delivery, and they'll be able to also deliver it faster. It's like the express checkout line in the store.
Yeah, another thing I love, I'm wondering if you have this too on Instacart. I'm sure you do because it's a pretty basic feature, but I do like it. It's helpful. It's like a buy again feature where it shows you all the things you've bought in the past. It's so easy. I just go to that half the time because I'm a pretty routine. I like the same meals and the same food, so I'll just go to the buy again and click through what I bought, last weekend or whatever. So that's a cool feature too.
That's cool. Like that. Some of my favorite stores that are on there, besides the ones I already mentioned too, is that I can get groceries from Aldi, and it is really hard to get groceries from Aldi otherwise. Yeah. And I love Aldi. So, and this has come and saved me multiple times. I can get Instacart from Sephora.
Yeah, I can too. Yeah, I have Sephora, Petco, Walgreens. Not prescriptions, but getting medications if you're sick is great. Like Mucinex or whatever if you need it. So that's
you don't want to walk to the pharmacy because I can walk to toothpaste. A CVS. But
yeah, even toothpaste or something. Oh yeah, I feel weird about ordering toothpaste on Amazon because you have a whole cardboard box to deal with situation. I would rather get it on.
No, yeah, and it's so easy to get it at a store. If you just add it to your order. So yeah, home goods. Exactly. I've gotten dog food sometimes when I really need it. I usually buy dog food on Chewy, but
I usually get it delivered too.
Yeah, but I've gotten it in a pinch. You can Instacart from PetSmart.
Yes. Shipt and Instacart, I think the key words here are in a pinch. I mean, they're great just for your weekly groceries, but they're also so good in a pinch. If you need something, if you're baking something and you're I've run out of sugar, you know, and usually if I need that one thing, I can find a few other things I need to get the price up to be free delivery.
Yeah.
But it stinks when you, not to get to our bad stories yet, but it stinks when you really mainly need sugar, and then that's the one thing they're
nothing
out of,
else.
Yeah,
I do like the $10 options, even though I feel like in the end I usually end up paying a little bit more than I would have if I just got it in the $35. But I only needed 3 things. So
yeah, exactly. So,
and those can come in 10 minutes, where not 10, 20 minutes. But if I were a person who could drive, if I stopped cooking and then I ran to the store and I grabbed my one thing I needed, and then I ran back, that whole errand would probably take about 20 minutes anyway. So it is pretty quick.
Absolutely. And it is good for busy moms on the go or other people. You don't have to be disabled to use this service.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of grocery delivery. There have been times where I'm maybe visiting my parents who live in a different city than I do, and it's the same kind of thing. We're in the middle of cooking and we're oh shoot, we need one thing, and I'll place an order for a few things on Instacart, and then it'll just come right to their house, and they don't have to go to the store if it's even 8 o'clock at night and it's a little late. It's really, really convenient. The only thing you gotta keep in mind about that, I say this as a word of caution for everyone, and if you ever Instacart from some other location, don't forget to switch it back, because there have been multiple times that I have shipped my groceries, and my mom will send me a photo, and she's like, "Are these yours?" And I'm like, "Oh no!"
I have done this. I've done this on DoorDash too, where I don't change the address.
Oh.
Yep. I've done that.
It's so unfortunate.
That is terrible. Yeah, yeah. So definitely switch the address back to yours. If
Don't forget, this is my learn from my mistakes.
But it is a really cool feature that you're able to change the address too.
Yeah,
that is really great.
Oh,
if you're at a different place, or if you're trying to send someone something, or whatever.
I feel like in our good stories, we can even talk about times where it's super helped us out in a pinch.
Totally.
Because I think our bad stories are mostly about either the quality of service and or the shoppers, since they are the ones who are choosing the items that you're actually getting. But I think our good stories can also just include pretty much anything about the service that has been really beneficial to us.
Yeah, right. So you want to start good? You want to do good stories first?
I don't know. Is it better to end on a good note?
Is it better to end on a good note?
I think that's what we tend to do.
Yeah, we should start with the bad then.
All right, and this is the juicier stuff. This is what you guys came here for, I guess. Have you ever gotten spoiled food?
Absolutely, yes. And this is one of the downsides. Actually, recently I ordered some bread and it was legit moldy. It was really gross. It was like very moldy. It was kind of like
Oh.
And of course, if you are shopping yourself, you can maybe check these things, check the dates. Now, the shoppers are not always going to check the dates as well as you are. And so, yeah, I've gotten that. I've gotten spoiled fruit.
I've gotten spoiled fruit.
Yeah, mostly
cheese. I've gotten some moldy cheese, and I was like in the middle of cooking. I end up doing this a lot, where in the middle of cooking, I'm like, I needed the one thing, and so then I'll place a quick Instacart order. And I was in the middle of grating the cheese that had just come, and I was like, oh, ew, oh no.
Oh, no. Yeah, and I've also had, wow, it just left my brain, but basically, like cracked eggs. You know, like you get eggs.
I had that happen!
Yeah, they're cracked. I also one time had a cracked jar. Like, I ordered pickles, and the pickle jar was cracked. So,
oh, no.
You know, clearly, this can also happen when you are shopping for yourself. Your eggs can crack and whatnot. But
for sure. But usually, like, when you're shopping, you can open the container and check. It might have gotten broken in transit. It's hard to say, but yeah.
Right.
I've lost them too.
I've also just had times, too, where if it's the summertime and they have multiple orders or I can't get to the door quickly enough, like, sometimes things, like, I'll buy some frozen things that will kind of get hot and then... You know, so that's
my ice cream is melted on my porch. It's been really sad.
Right. That's partially our fault for not maybe going out there. But if it's a really hot day, it can just be a few minutes that makes it, like, you know. So, yeah. When it's a cold day, I appreciate it more because it's like it's in the fridge already, basically.
Right. I know. It's kind of nice that if you order it to just drop off at your door. Because sometimes you can have it where they knock and they wait for you to open, but I usually just tell them that they can leave it. I've sometimes had it happen where, like, I come back in the winter and everything is perfect. It's just perfect. And never mind. Mm-hmm. There have been times where I've ordered an item lately, especially. It's happened a couple times that have been memorable to me lately where they bring me the item, but they bring me the wrong size.
Oh, yep, that happens too.
It's frustrating because I feel almost like I'm getting taken advantage of where, like, it was hard because I was prepping for a little workshop I was doing for No Bake Tarts. And I had Instacarted some strawberries. I had just come back from being out of town. And I knew that I had to place the order for the strawberries, like, as soon as I possibly could, because I didn't want to keep them for a week in the fridge and they could spoil. And so I ordered a big container and they brought me the small container. And I was like, I need these, like, now. So, fortunately, I was able to get help from my parents in that moment, and they were able to run to the store and actually get the additional strawberries that we needed. But it's really frustrating. Or I bought white cheddar Cheez-Its are one of my absolute favorite snacks in the entire world. And I bought,
and we all know the small box is not...
Small box is wrong, and they brought me small box.
No, we do not eat it. We talked about this on the pod before, but in case you missed it, they literally taste different.
They taste different.
They 100%. They're like more burnt or something.
So I've had it where like sometimes they're like a weird texture, or the ones I got, I ate them because I was desperate. I just really wanted some crackers, and I don't know, they taste less cheesy and more buttery. It's just
they're less cheesy and
it's not
more
the same.
Yeah, they're not good.
The family size box is where it's at.
The family size box, correct. I had already thought this before you ever said a thing about it, and I love that we both know that this is fact.
This is law.
Yeah, it's law. And then, of course, you have the times where the person is at the store actively texting you, like, we don't have this, we don't have that, we're out of this. And then sometimes the pictures they send, like, won't come through. And so they're like, do you want this or this? And I, like, won't be seeing what they're
And I'm like, what is
about.
it? Yeah.
Or I'll be, like, on a work meeting and I'll miss their text and they're like, hello, what do you want? Hello? And I'm, like, on a work meeting, like, and I realize later I accidentally. So sometimes that's frustrating. And I'm sure it's frustrating for them, too, honestly.
Right, because they're at the store and they're waiting for you.
It's, like, annoying. They're, like, waiting for you. Yeah, it's, like, annoying.
I feel bad whenever that happens, but it's kind of hard to like be on your phone constantly checking.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
I've had it where items I genuinely ordered and they said they shopped for, like they marked them off as that item was found. They just didn't make it to the door.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating.
Like common.
The other day, it wasn't the other day. It was some time ago. So of all of the items that I ordered, like the one I actually really needed in that moment was the one that did not come. It's like,
of course, every time.
Yeah.
Every time, the one thing you really need is the one thing they don't have, and then you're like, I didn't even need the rest of this stuff.
I just added it so I could make the minimum.
Yes, that's exactly. I've done it before many times. Yep.
I think.
Oh my gosh.
I think it's always funny where. So this has happened to me maybe like 3 or 4 times. There have been times where something I never ordered appeared.
Yes. Correct.
I picked up my bags and I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, it's very rare that happens to me, but it has. I'm pretty sure it has. Either something's there that shouldn't be or something is not there that should be, you know?
Right.
You know.
I once got like a roll of ground beef, you know, when they come in like a tube, which is so random. And then I think I got like store brand butter that I hadn't purchased. Like I had bought other butter and I got an additional store brand butter. And I was like, well.
Yeah, sometimes they'll give me 2 of something when I'm pretty sure I just ordered 1.
Right.
You know, like I'll order like 1 can of beans and they bring me 2 or something like that. And, you know, usually that's fine and you can use it. You know, but it is funny. I don't know if this is a bad story, but a funny story I had is recently I ordered like shredded lettuce and I was waiting and the person texted me and I quote, the store is out of that shredded lettuce because of that murder. Okay. This is because of that murder. I thought not to laugh at murder, but that's just like the funniest, most out of context.
So out of pocket.
It's so random. And I'm like, what are they talking about? And I asked my mom, and my mom was like, oh yeah, there was like a murder at the Kroger like shipping or something. I don't know. And I was like, oh no, and that's terrible. But I didn't know. And so for them to just say it like that, of like, you can't get your lettuce because of that murder. Yeah. It's like, this is the most random ship text I've ever received, but I think it's pretty hilarious.
That's honestly. So funny.
I
also wanted to make a note that, you know, in the times where like we're missing something or something is spoiled or that kind of thing, usually, so, you know, we're obviously like huge fans of grocery delivery, so you can always go on your app and complain, and they usually will refund you the cost of that item. Sometimes I've had to like take a picture of it for proof, which, you know, I never fully mind doing, but it's really helpful, and I've rarely ever had an issue getting a refund. So, you know, there's always a decent remedy for the situation that should you decide to reorder an item that came incorrect for whatever reason, you know, you usually always can.
Yeah, that's true. They're usually pretty great about that.
I had oh my gosh, one of my favorite Instacart stories.
Are you about to tell your bad story?
Oh no, I was gonna tell my funniest one, and then
tell funny, and then we've got to hear the really
okay. So one of my favorite like funny Instacart stories is this was a few years ago. It was like the end of 2021, and I was trying to iron some clothes, so I ordered some ironing starch. You know, the stuff you can spray on clothes to help it like stay wrinkle free or whatever.
Yeah.
So the Instacart guy texts me and he said they don't have, and then they usually just like copy and paste the name of the item. So they don't have whatever brand ironing starch. What of these replacements would you like? And he sent me a photo, and it took me a minute to process. But the photo that he sent me was of an aisle of feminine products. And like, he was like, and it was all mostly pictures of like Vagisil. And I was like, I literally just texted back. I'm like, that's not ironing starch. That's Vagisil. I just don't know how he got the two things confused.
How did he get from one place to the other? There are like a lot of joking reels on Instagram that I've seen of like your Instacart shopper, and it's like, they don't have bananas, but do you want like an oven mitt or whatever? It's so funny. But how did this end? I mean, was he like
we had a little back and forth, and he was like, well, this is what's there, and I'm like, that's not what I want. And so I've had a few times I've had to tell people, can you ask someone who works at the store? Because we're not there. So
right.
I think in the end, he was able to get it to me. It did take some convincing. I was just very confused.
That's hysterical. I do remember you telling me that, but I'd forgotten it. So I was hearing it like it was for the first time. And that is so funny. It's so funny. Oh my gosh.
Wow. So, okay, do you have any other, like, really bad, memorable stories before I tell my bombshell?
I feel, this was so long ago, I'm not going to get it quite right, so it's not really a story, but kind of just a moment of, like, my shopper, kind of, like, accidentally, like, couldn't find my condo, which is obviously always a problem. Yeah. Like, let's be real.
Oh.
So he accidentally had said it was delivered or something, but it wasn't, and he couldn't find my condo, and so he was asking me to, like, call, like, Shipped Corporate to, like, deal with it, and he was like, because I can't call, like, your order is no longer in my phone. It was just the weirdest thing, so I was, like, on hold for a long time, and, like, it was just so odd, and I think I finally did get my groceries, but it was a strange situation because he was asking me to like do the work for him essentially, and I was like, I don't have time.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Phone. Wait, I had something similar happen where like there were times. Have you ever gotten a delivery in a place that it wasn't supposed to be?
Yes.
Okay, so the same thing happened. I have a back patio, and there's a gate to get in, but that's like, I feel like pretty clearly the back door because it's got a gate. And
right, same. I have the same thing.
It's hard because our condos are similar in the way where there's a back patio, concrete slab inside of a gate. You have a garage. I don't. And then the front is like, these condos like face each other. And so just kind of like yours. And it's hard for people to find the front of the condo, and I always want my groceries at the front door because the gate's kind of confusing, and that's where the mailbox is. So this is the front door. I want my groceries at the front door. And I once had that happen where it said it was delivered, and I like could not see it at the front of my door. I have a really confusing address, and I get my neighbor's stuff a lot. So, you know, I checked my neighbor's porch and it wasn't there. And then I checked out the back door and it wasn't there. And I called, and it was so strange. I just couldn't find it. And, you know, I also have done it through the Kroger app. You can pay them and they will basically do it, and they usually end up sending an Instacart shopper to do the work anyway. But I like the Kroger app because you usually get better deals with it. Like, you get more coupons.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it was through Kroger, so I called them, and they were really good about it, and they refunded me my order. The next day, I'm going to go to the office because I work hybrid, and I walked outside, and in the light of day, because it was dark outside the night before, they had put it inside the front gate, and I wasn't looking there. I was looking behind my door.
Yes, I remember when this happened to you.
And I felt bad because I felt like I'd squeezed them for money, but I didn't know it was there.
No, I mean, it was an honest mistake, and we
genuine
can't even see.
mistake.
It was genuine.
And unless they send, like, sometimes they take a picture, like Amazon will take a picture too.
Right.
But they didn't take a picture, and then I also recently actually had this was Instacart. Someone hung it on a board of my back gate, so I had to like wrench it free. Like, it was.
I sent you something that was hung on the board of your back gate because they sent me a picture. I sent you something recently. I don't know if that was it or if you're thinking of a different time.
Oh my gosh, I think that was it. Wait, no, that was separate. Because I remember I had ordered like a half gallon of milk, and it was so heavy to like wrench it free from the gate.
They sent me a picture, and I thought that's an interesting place to put it. I
hope such a weird place to put something.
It was like hung over. Yeah, it was. Yeah, people do that. They put it at my back gate too, and it's frustrating because it's kind of like a road. It's not the best place. I'd way rather it be at my front door, but it is what it is. They can't always find the front door.
I hear it. It is hard to find, and I'm sure every place is different, but sometimes it's very confusing.
Right. But we've got to hear your really crazy bad one that happened. This is
happened,
what prompted the whole episode. Okay,
this happened a week ago.
This was bad.
It's quite fresh. So this shopper I had ordered through the Kroger app, and this was an Instacart shopper who was assigned to take my order. It wasn't a very large order, but I think it was one of those things where there were a lot of, like, it was snowing that night. It was just the most convenient time for me to do my groceries. And, I think a lot of things were out too. So that wasn't the shopper's fault, but, he said the chicken thighs that I had ordered weren't there. And so then, we had a little back and forth of like, okay, well, I actually want these. Okay, fine. So I was making Puerto Rican food. As a reminder, I'm Puerto Rican. But I wanted some more like specific products that they have at Kroger, like Goya products, to make the food that I was planning to cook that week. And so I ordered this like marinade that Goya makes, and the guy was like really thrown by that. He's like, I don't know where this is. And he like was asking me to help him find it, and I was like, what aisle is that in? And I was like, I don't know. I'm not at the store. Like, can you ask someone? And he was like, well, there's not that many people around to ask. And it just like, he started, I don't know, everything that I was trying to be of assistance. Meanwhile, instead of doing anything else, I'm literally just texting this shopper.
Yeah, exactly. Wasting your time.
It was a lot, and like, he just couldn't find it, and I don't know, maybe it was gone. I don't know, but he was making it kind of a big deal, and then he started complaining. I'm like, oh, well, when I got in the store, Instacart set this like 12-minute timer for me to find all the items, and it's been longer than 12 minutes now. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't know. It's hard to say what I can do in this position, and so I just didn't reply. And then it really escalated, okay? So, clearly the shopper was being a little bit needy. Whatever, it's fine. It's annoying, but it's fine. But it gets so much worse because I needed chicken stock, okay? And he said that the one I ordered, which was like, it was the cheapest one, right? But it said like cage-free, whatever, egg, like chicken stock. And he said, this one isn't available, but in the same brand, basically, they have like low sodium and fat free. And I was like, okay, but what other kinds are there? Like, what other brands? And he was like, well, I already said they're low sodium and fat free. And he was like, there's a lot of kinds of stock here. And I'm like, well, clearly I want chicken stock because that's what I ordered. And then you guys, you guys, it super escalated.
Yes.
So then I'm pulling up screenshots because I took screenshots of the end of this conversation.
Yes.
And jeez, where is it? I took them out of order, so I was like, okay, if you're gonna be rude, I'm gonna call Instacart if there's a problem here. I'm doing the best I can. You seem to be getting a little bit nasty with me.
Nasty. He called you nasty.
He called me nasty, and I could not. He said, I stated up in my message the choices they had of the free-range chicken broth. I didn't care if it was free-range. I just needed chicken stock.
Right.
And so he sent a really long message just saying, like, no, you didn't. And also, this, I don't know what's at the store. So if he could tell me the kinds of brands of chicken stock they had, that would be really helpful. But he hasn't answered my question. And then in all caps, you guys, he says, I told you.
And screaming in all
caps. He was screaming on text. And then I started getting really mad at this moment. And I said, excuse me? No, you didn't. I asked for brands in all caps. And you gave me low sodium and other options in all caps. And then, guys, this is the clincher. He goes, go get your own groceries. Thanks for wasting my time.
Insanity that he would say that to a customer. Like,
this is his job. Like,
this is his
buying
job.
people's groceries is your job because you're an Instacart shopper.
I love go buy your own groceries. Like, how dare he? That is so bad.
He quit on my order, which I'm really glad because then he didn't come to my house.
Right.
I was
I thought the
a
same
little
thing.
concerned, right?
A little concerning for him to come to your house. Yeah, we did not want that. He was angry.
Yeah.
No, it was not.
I called Kroger and I told them because, if he was going to call and report me, I was going to report him right back, especially since he was being super rude. And I read them the messages, and the guy on the phone, the Kroger customer service guy, when I read the last one, he was like, whoa, he was pretty low key, like, oh yeah,
Like, you have the receipts, like, you can show, like, hey, I was not instigating this guy just flew off the handle for whatever reason.
It's so nuts. Kroger then called Instacart, and they were able to see all the messages, so this man will never do my groceries again. But
he should be on probation probably from the job, to be honest.
Honestly, should. If you're not able to handle buying groceries for someone, and I wasn't insulting him,
and
you
kindly,
you should just maybe not do this job.
No, he did not handle that correctly.
Oh my gosh, it was so nuts. And I didn't even need those things that badly, but it just, I needed to do my groceries, so
sure.
It's not like I was in the middle of cooking,
it makes for a funny story,
least,
even though I hate that it had to happen, but
truly, guys, in the last 8 years I've used Instacart, I've never, ever experienced anything to that level. So don't let that turn you off from grocery delivery.
No. That's a very strange one-off. We use these services all the time, and usually it's just a very normal interaction. And I mean, this could, if you're ready, this could lead us into our good stories.
That's so fair, yeah.
I don't think we'll have as many good stories just because, Cass, we were talking before we started this episode, and we were like, well, most of the time they get all the groceries we need and they bring it on time, and that is a good story. That is the outcome we desire, right? Is to get all of our groceries, get it, it's all correct. And typically that is what happens. Usually you won't run into too many problems. And usually if the store is out of something, it's not their fault. It would be out even if you were doing your own shopping at the store. It's not their fault, that the broccoli is out or whatever.
Right.
But I will say, because Shipt lets me use the same shoppers over and over, I've kind of gotten to know them, and there's a lady who really loves my dog, Rupert, and so she'll bring dog treats for him, and I think that's cute.
That's so cute.
And she's also brought me before the little mini Tootsie Roll Pops, and added that, and the first time she did it, I was like, I didn't order this, and I realized she had just she adds it for her customers. So that was really sweet. And, you know, I have a few ladies that are really lovely. And I actually have a funny story. When I was pre-pandemic, they used to, now it's like a no-show, like you don't see their face kind of delivery. They just drop it at your...
That's what Instacart usually is.
No contact. Yeah. But back in the day, before COVID shipped, typically they would like carry the groceries in for you, which I guess is great for elderly people if it's heavy and whatnot. And I think you can still ask for that service. Now I have it checkmarked where I want the no contact delivery because it's just easier for me. But anyway, so this lady would bring in my groceries and she knew me. And I was in Target with my mom one day just shopping, and this lady comes up to me and she's like, "Hey, how are you?" Like acting like she really knows me. And I literally had to pull that blind card of being very just blunt and being like, "Hey, like remind me again who you are," because I didn't know who she was. And she was like, "I'm your ship shopper," and it was so funny.
Sweet.
It was really sweet, but it was so weird because I've never seen her out of context. And like, you know, like in the wild, I was like, "Oh my gosh, like the ship shopper is here." She was probably shopping for an order at Target.
Yeah, right.
But I thought that was really funny, and she still shops for me to this day. Actually, we just never see each other anymore because I'm a recluse, but not really. But
miss her, miss your ship shopper.
yeah, and I have another one, but we can go back and forth.
Yeah, I've got a couple, right? Because most of the time, the best case scenario is that you get everything that you need.
Yes,
there are especially times where. Like, I was once in the middle of cooking, and so they were also in the middle of my order, and I sent a message to the shopper, and I'm like, "Listen, I know I didn't I can't alter my order anymore, but I, like, really need, like, 2 lemons. If you could bring them to me, please. I will add them to your tip so that you get paid for them, but... Or if you can't add them to my order or something, I just really, really need them." And they did. And it was just so helpful because, you know, it was like right when I needed them. And so it was just super nice. And they were really good about it too, which I appreciated.
That's great. Yeah, that's great. They can usually be pretty flexible with that kind of stuff, which is really nice if you remember something. I had a lady recently, actually, I don't remember if it was a lady or a man, but that's kind of beside the point. But I had someone recently, a shopper who, I don't remember what I was getting. Like, let's say it was like apples. I really don't remember, but let's just say it was apples. And they said, "Hey, like they don't have any apples out right now. I don't know why." And so I messaged them back, "Hey, like no worries. I don't need them." Like, because it wasn't something I like really needed for a certain recipe or anything. And they were like, "Well, okay." And then like 10 minutes later, they were like, "I asked the worker," and they went to the back and they found what I forgot. It probably wasn't apple. I don't remember what it was, but they like went above and beyond to go ask the worker to like go to the back to find what I wanted. And I wasn't even complaining. I was like, "Okay, no problem." But they went and they still asked, even though I didn't care. So that was really nice.
That's super sweet.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so my very best Instacart story, and I don't think I'm going to remember all the details, is I call her my molasses hero because she truly was my molasses hero. So it was Christmas time, and I'm baking gingerbread, which is the only really reason that you ever need molasses, I feel like.
You're so right.
So, of course, because it was around Christmas time, a lot of the stores didn't have it. And it was part of an order. Like, I think I had ordered other stuff. But the shopper was like, "Hey, they don't have the molasses that you want at Kroger." And I was like, "Oh, shoot. I had already started." I was like, "I'm making gingerbread cookies to send to my friends. Like, are you sure? Like, can you check?" She was like, "Let me find out. And she asked someone. She was like, "No, they're not there." And then later she comes back and she's like, "You know what, though? They have it at Fresh Time. I can go to Fresh Time and get it for you." And I was like, "This is a Kroger order." I'm like, "No, like, you don't, like, it's okay. Like, you don't have to do that."
So nice.
But, like, also, she was like, no. Like, she really, really wanted to. And so it was crazy because then she was like, "Let me bring you your Kroger stuff." And then I lived pretty close to a Fresh Time. And so she was like, "I'll go." Like, she called the store to check that they had it. She dropped off my order. She like ran down and to the nearby Fresh Time, got it, and she just like dropped it off at my door. And and she didn't take any payment for that. And I was like, that was like on her own dime that she just bought me molasses because she knew I was making cookies for like to send to my friends. And it was just the sweetest, most above and beyond thing I've ever seen from an Instacart shopper.
Literally a Christmas miracle. Like, she's an angel.
It was a Christmas miracle. I gave her like a really fat tip, partly to cover the cost and partly just because that's an insane thing to do.
That's so heartwarming at the holidays too. I just love that. I think that's so sweet.
It's so magical.
Unheard of, really. That's so above and beyond. That's so sweet.
It's crazy. Like, you can truly get service like that's the highest high, then the lowest low was the man telling me to go get my own groceries.
I was literally just about to say, you really have the full broad spectrum here of like the best and the worst moments. But most of the time, I would say 95% of the time, it's like just a very middle ground, like not worst or best. It's just like
right. It's just super neutral. My groceries came and nothing was weird about them.
Yeah, and that's how ride shares are too, right? Like most of the time, you get in, you get out. It's not a big thing.
You go to the place that you intended to go.
Right. Sometimes they're really lovely. Sometimes they're really not. But most of the time, it's going to be just a basic, you get where you need to go, and it's not a big thing. So, like,
and it really gets the job done. Like, truly changes the game for so many people with disabilities and just busy folks in general.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm so glad it exists. And I remember in college, it didn't. Like, I remember a time when it didn't. And so it makes me even more grateful that we're able to have that independence to
it had just started when I was in college. So I was still in college in 2017. Yeah. And when I had an internship. And so I worked like 9 to 5, and then in the evenings I had other commitments, and it was just really hard to even have the time to walk to the grocery store that was a few blocks away. So it's such a challenge, and it was kind of, I think it was really more hit and miss back then. I think it was harder to get exactly what you ordered, and now I feel like by and large I get pretty much everything that I asked for.
Yeah, I agree.
But still, even then, it was so helpful. And when I was a senior in college and living in an apartment, having to cook for myself, that was the way that I got groceries. Like, again, I lived about 3 blocks from the grocery store, and I occasionally did walk there whenever the mood struck. But for most everything else, I definitely ordered groceries.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any tips and tricks from your days in New York of if you are going to walk to the grocery store? Because I feel like that's worth mentioning, even though we're here at the end of our episode.
Yeah. Some people would, like, have carts, that they would use. Little mini, not huge size carts, but little mini carts. I did not do that, but usually I would just have a tote bag if I had a few things to get. Typically, though, like, I would order just because it was too heavy. It was too much to carry up 5 flights of stairs and to walk all that way. So it was hard, yeah. Like, I think a lot of people use delivery in New York for that reason, but I definitely see people with carts and bigger bags and things like that. And sometimes if I had a big backpack or a big tote bag, I could put quite a bit in there, but,
Yeah, I think backpacks are usually the way I go if I want to, like, walk to the Fresh Time and grab a few things. I can pack a good bit in that backpack, and I have had a wheeled cart. It was really convenient because it was fabric, so it had wheels on the bottom, but it would fold up.
Oh, so yeah, that's nice.
It was really cool, but because it was fabric, it also ended up ripping, which is unfortunate. But I used it a lot when I lived in Seattle. I lived really close to a Safeway, and I just like took my little cart all folded up, and then I would fill it with stuff, and it was really nice and tall. That was super nice. And then you can get some of those wheeled carts like that teachers use to cart their stuff around, and those are really helpful if you're going to a market or something and walking there.
Yeah.
I will say, don't be dumb like me when I was 21 and I walked to the store and decided to buy glass beer.
Oh.
Because I was carrying like a 6-pack of glass beer bottles, and those bottle caps are not nice to carry, and like it was really like scratchy, and those 3 blocks felt like 3 miles.
Oh, yeah. No. Oh.
So try to get stuff that you can
So,
carry comfortably, that your bags won't break. Definitely try to get a backpack if you can. I've even taken like a wheeled suitcase before.
Oh yeah, that works. Yeah. If you can do grocery delivery, it's great. But these are just some other options if you would like to actually go to the grocery or find a friend and use their car.
Right. I've also, friend, family member, significant other, like someone who can help you run those errands, because that's just really the game changer. I used to walk to where I work when I first started working there, and there was a Kroger across the street, so sometimes I would stop at Kroger on my way home and fill my backpack. So, if you can stack errands and you're walking and you live in a more urban environment that works for you, you can definitely try that. But grocery delivery is always an option.
Yeah, totally. And I think this was a fun ep to share all of our crazy stories. I'm sure we'll have more in the future, but
I'm sure
for now, we leave you with these. Yeah.
But it's been real, and it's been fun.
It's been fun.
It's been real fun,
I would say so. And we will see you in 2 weeks. Bye!